And are you opposed to the concept of retroactivity in principle? So you don't
Good evening, brothers and sisters. Great to see all of you here tonight. This is an event that I've been looking forward to. Please apologize my delay in getting here. I was on time for the previous forum, but because somebody else was late, that made me late, and I'm really upset about it right now. But I'm glad to be here with all of you. And this is a discussion on the future of New York City, the future after Mike Bloomberg is out of here. This is what we're talking about. And in my remaining 30 seconds of introducing myself, I just want to say that I've been proud and honored to serve as city controller these last 4 years. You elected me in 2009 to do the job independently and vigorously, and I'm proud that I have done so. We've found billions of dollars of waste, put it back into the city coffers. And even though they throw a lot at me, I've continued to do the job independently like I will as mayor of New York City with your support and blessing. I got the question, Bob.
Yeah. Well, there was one thing that seemed to be important to everyone here, and I want to ask you on the record. And are you opposed to the concept of retroactivity in principle?
No, I'm absolutely not opposed to it. In fact, the concept of retroactivity is not my idea. It's not your idea. It's Mike Bloomberg's idea. For 8 years of his administration, in almost every collective bargaining session he had, there were retroactive pay increases. The deal to our city employees was that, okay, don't worry, your contract is expired, but keep working, keep doing your job, and you did so. And we will make you whole. And for 8 years in his collective bargaining sessions, he did that.
Okay, I think you got that. I think they get where you are on that.
So I got to talk about how I'm going to pay for it.
No, well, we'll get around to that.
Okay.
You give him 10 seconds before you know it, the whole night is gone.
All right.
What's the philosophy you would bring to the city's economic development? Let's go this way, and it's a minute.
There are a lot of examples. You talk about the gentrification. People can't afford to live where they've been living for many decades after they built up those neighborhoods. You have all these outside consultants that get annual increases. Meanwhile, our city employees get nothing. This has contributed to this immense wealth gap that we have in this city. It's a problem in the rest of the country. It's a much bigger problem in the city, where in the country you have the top 1% earning 17% of the nation's income. In New York City, you have the top 1% earning 33% of the city's income. And it's growing worse and worse, faster than the rest of the nation. We need changes in policy. We need to fix our fiscal situation so that we're not subsidizing big corporations and meanwhile closing down after-school programs and job center sites. We've got to fix our income tax policy so that everybody pays their fair share. And that means that people who make over $500,000 a year, and I'm sorry for any of you here who fall in that category, I intend to put together a tax reform plan that will ask you to pay a little bit more, while everybody below the $500,000 pays a little bit less. Fair is fair, and we've got to get rid of the economic development policy over this past decade, which hasn't been about 5 boroughs.
But we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. I have a question on it. We are. Because then you're going to sound redundant, and it's going to sound like I answered the question before. So.
All right. I got to respect the time. Thank you.
Yes.
And he promised that he would be held accountable, that the buck would stop with him. Well, somehow it became all about control, dictatorship, with zero accountability whatsoever. That's the system that we've devolved into. The schools today are run as if they are business divisions reporting up to DOE Corporation. That's not the way to run our schools. Costs. We have given the NYPD a number of recommendations as to how they can better manage their risks so that they don't have these constantly skyrocketing claims costs that you, the taxpayers, and let's make it very clear, DC 37 members are taxpayers. It's your money that's being used to pay for these claims. We got to reduce these claims. But part of what's happening here is that there's been a deterioration, a serious decline in the trust between the community and the police. For example, this rampant stop and frisk that has created a huge division between the community and the police. I feel that that has made everybody less safe because it's made it the cops, given the cops a more difficult time doing their job. I'm the only candidate that believes that stop and frisk needs to be abolished. It doesn't work.
Thank you. Controller Liu.
Felicitaciones. Gracias, Antonio, por su pregunta importante. Ese es muy importante. All right, look, that's what I got in high school.
You're taking away from his time. You can tweet.
I support this bill. And let me tell you why. Thank you very much. We have seen a wealth gap that is out of control, the rich getting far richer and everybody else being left behind. The way to reverse this is by first uplifting the working poor, which means we need a serious and significant increase in the minimum wage in the city of New York. We've got the highest cost of living in the country, and so our minimum wage needs to reflect that. When we do that, we start to expand the middle class because there's upward pressure placed on wage levels at all levels. But we also have to pay attention to the prevailing wages in this city. Prevailing wage rules are placed in here so that government doesn't undercut the private sector. And many of the members of DC 37 have been protected by prevailing wage. But under this administration, they tried to do away with all of that. Not only did the mayor put an executive order to eliminate prevailing wage, for 10 years, he denied, for example, the sewage treatment workers their rightful raises to the point where they were making tens of thousands of dollars less than their counterparts in the private sector. Kyle Simmons has a lot of laborers who aren't getting their prevailing wage. Between Kyle and Jim working with Lillian Roberts and Eddie Rodriguez and the leadership of DC 37, we got them the prevailing wage, and we're going to protect that at all costs for the workers of this city.
Thank you, Controller.
Well, thank you. I also want to thank all of you for coming out tonight. These are issues that are important, as I said before, to the city of New York and our collective future. I do want to take some of my time to thank the people who organized this. Our great executive director, Lillian Roberts. Thank you so much, Ms. Roberts, for bringing all of us together. And your team of leadership, including Cliff and Dennis and Henry and Oliver and Moff and Eddie and Santos and I can't see everybody because the lights are in. And of course, the leadership of 1707 Rags GL and the leadership of CSEA, Lester Crockett, all of you, really, these are issues that we have to discuss. And over the past years that I've been a member of the City Council and then City Comptroller, I have always relied upon the work that you do and the research that you've conducted. Because when I was a member of the City Council, I couldn't get a lot of information from the city. They just were so tight-fisted with the information. You published a white paper that exposed the extreme amount of outside contracting that when I got to the comptroller's office, I was able to hit the ground running. And in the first month, when the mayor tried to sneak another city time contract through my office, we said no. No more money for city time. We started an audit that then led to an investigation that ultimately recovered $500 million from that contractor. $500 million of our money that the taxpayers never should have paid out the door in the first place. And that's just one example of outside contracting gone out of control. We need to curtail these outside consultants. We need to take care of our employees, the people who committed their lives and their careers to the success of what New York City has been about. And I will always hold true to that mission. And as much as they come after me, and I don't know why I'm the only guy they're investigating the campaign fundraising for, look, they can throw everything in the kitchen sink at me. And I'll be ready for the stove.
Okay.
And the refrigerator after that.
Okay. The stove is going to be 30 seconds.
To stop me from doing the work that you elected me to do as comptroller. And with your support, I will be mayor of New York City. And we're going to change this city.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bob.
The stove was at least 25 seconds.
Pretty warm reception today. Any thoughts on why they seem to like you so much here?
Look, these are ready. These are municipal employees. They are the backbone of city government, and for too many years they've been mistreated. I don't think that's the way we should be treating our workers. We need them to make sure city government is serving all the people of New York City. And I look forward to working very closely with all the members of DC 37.